Na 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 Batgirl. Okay, guys. So we're gonna be examining Batgirl's skill trees as they are currently in the beta preview, and we're just gonna be doing some general thoughts. I'm gonna remove my black border background here so you guys can actually see what's behind me for a second. I'm not actually gonna move my avatar. What do you think? I like you that much? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, first ability here in the Justice tree over here on the left side is Perfect Evade. And if you perform a perfectly timed evade, you get momentum and a perfect attack follow-up. I'm not gonna lie, guys. In the beta, pretty much the left side skill tree is pretty much the same for all the characters, or at least very similar for all of them. So if you see like my other videos, this tree is very generic, very common. Let's just go on to the next skill, but for most characters, I wouldn't recommend going into the left tree. Usually the middle and the right side skill trees have all their cool stuff. Okay, the first one here down the left side behind my head is increase your critical damage by 20%, critical expertise. Basically flat 20% crit damage, pretty good, but there's other nodes in the other trees that you might want to take, which leads us over to the right side here is your elite beatdown. The beatdown skill is one of Batgirl's creme de la creme skills. She kind of just does this pummeling massive attack on people and they just get absolutely demolished. I actually like this one compared to most other characters. Beatdown can't be interrupted and your defense increases by 20%. So that means while you're performing the ability, you're doing well, you can't be interrupted and you get more defense, which is good because you don't want to be knocked out of your combo move there. It's going to take us down to a center ability that is below me. I can't really move out of the way here, but Heavyweight increases your heavy melee attack damage by 10% and elemental buildup by 20%. This is actually really good, a really good skill. Heavy attacks do buku damage, and elemental buildup is also very good. Batgirl is all around just like a tank of a woman, man. She dishes out damage and she does not die, which we will find out in the grit tree there in the middle. But let's go on to the next one here. Increases Batgirl's chance of landing crit by 10%, precise strikes. Pretty much everyone has that. Can't beat extra crit chance, so I mean, it's your standard node you might want to just take regardless of anything. Piercing Beatdown. The upgraded version of Beatdown can interrupt armored attacks. So basically, Beatdown is going to be like one of your primary resource spenders. You're going to be beating down everybody, anytime, anywhere, and no one's going to stop you because you can't be interrupted. Okay, Capstone. Critical Focus. Increase Batgirl's chance of landing a crit by 10% and critical damage by another 10%. So with the increased crit chance, you're getting almost like what, 30-40% crit chance boost, and then lots of damage on the crits. So Justice Tree is just all about just flat out damage, I guess, right? Okay, next we get Grit. So the first one, it's okay. You have to take it, right? It's a 40% health boost. Basically, you just get 40% extra health. Batgirl, like I said, is major tanker. She just does not die. Grit, gonna receive an attack, or the second one in Grit on the lower left, or upper left, upper left here. Enemy counter. You get a 75% defense bonus when hit by an enemy counterattack. So if enemies actually manage to land a blow on you, you're just gonna shrug it off and say, "Hey, I'm Batgirl." The right side one here is Unflinching Strike. Most enemy attacks can't interrupt your heavy attack. Keyword there being most. I imagine the bigger enemies, the beefier dudes, the bosses, they're still going to interrupt your heavy attacks, so not really recommended on that one. Middle one here, Second Wind. Batgirl can revive herself once and restores 50% health. Self-revives. If you're playing solo, you can't beat that. I mean, and we're going to see it gets even more overpowered on the next tier with the self-revives. Second Wind Plus down here. Second Wind also grants Batgirl a full momentum segment and 10% crit for 15 seconds. So if you have some of the Justice Tree and you get knocked down and you get back up, you're going to have momentum to cast your beatdowns. So you're going to have more damage, more crit chance, and it's just going to be a crazy time. Batgirl goes down, she gets up, and she's like, I am vengeance, and just brutalizes someone's face. It's ridiculous. All right, the next one over here. Here we go. Vigilante Resolve. You can now use Second Wind twice. Pretty good. I mean, 2 self revives. That saves on what, healing potions or healing items, and you just go down and don't care and get back up with more momentum than you went down with. And then the last one here, Sense of Victory. Whenever you defeat an enemy, you get a health back. So you get a percentage of your health every time you do a takedown or a defeat on an enemy. Obviously, takedowns are more. This is very much similar to Robin's. Whenever he does a takedown, he gets health back. So it's kind of just keeping up that momentum of combat so you don't have to heal so much. All right, the next one. Remote hacking. In AR mode, you can disable devices like turrets, mines, controls, lasers. It depends on how many of these are actually in the game. Like when you're out there free roaming in the world, how many of these are you actually going to come across? If it's a super lot, yeah, this might be useful. If not, it could be a crap skill. It's kind of those wait and see first picks of this tree. The Oracle, by the way. Shocking devices. Batgirl can overcharge enemies, guns, and weapons and devices, and basically they explode and do a lot of elemental damage to the enemy. So this was kind of in Batman Arkham, I think it was, where you could just make their guns kind of explode on them if you used a device on it. All right, here. Okay, digital ghost. Electronic devices, sensors, cameras cannot detect Batgirl. I don't think this would be a decent skill. I mean, if you want to go pure stealth Batgirl, maybe, but Batgirl's all about being a tank, being beating them up, just charging in, doing her thing. And then the right side, gear overclocking. Batgirl overclocks her abilities to deal 10% extra damage. She can also hack allies' abilities to give them a bonus. So if you're playing with a friend, this is definitely one you would want to take over the non-detection skill, because overclocking your allies' abilities or yourself is just doing tons more damage, and you're basically ripping people apart with Batgirl. Alright, we'll go down to this little next central node here. Which is hacking overload. Batgirl's hacking changes the function of security systems and makes electrical panels explode. So basically, you're blowing up devices. Perhaps you're bringing turrets under your command. I don't know. I didn't really see that in the beta, but we'll have to see exactly what happens there with that hacking overload. Oh, sorry, skipped one. Next one, super health packs. Health, and this is a capstone, by the way. Health packs provide more healing and defense. It's kind of an iffy pick. It's okay. It's a decent amount of health recovery and defense, but it really depends on how many health packs you're going to be dropping during fights. Like, I don't think health packs would really drop that much during boss fights, so you won't really see much use of this, and it's only 10 seconds. 10 seconds is almost nothing. Alright, the next capstone will be health packs plus. Health pack efficiency increases by 20%, and they also affect allies. Again, this is an ally ability. If you want to keep your allies healthy, heal them, and stay in the fight, it's okay. I'm not really that impressed with Oracle in general. It's not my playstyle personally, but maybe some people out there would like it. If I were to play Batgirl, big if there, because I'm gonna play Robin, obviously, in my last video, but if I were to play Batgirl, I would go down her justice and grit trees I can't really give a solid build, but pretty much all of Justice is good on Batgirl. All of it boosts her damage. And then obviously in the grit tree, you want to do the self revivals. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't want to kind of max out grit tree, but you want to get down to at least like double revival. So you're getting back up with more power than most other characters. So you're just being an unstoppable force. Let's get into her knighthood abilities. The first one is just her cape. She can glide. She has the typical Batman glide. Actually, really good because if you get up high on a building, you can just float across the entire map. Very impressive. Gliding never fails to be fun either. Okay. Grapple Pull. Batgirl uses her Grapple Pull to pull an enemy towards her. When used on a large enemy, you go towards them. Since it does no damage, it's okay. I mean, basically, if you just want to keep fighting repeatedly and, non-stop action, you're going to be whiplashing enemies into your range of combat and then using Beatdown to just pummel them. It's pretty good, and for obviously 1 point, it's a solid pickup. I would say it's good. Next is Fear Takedown. Ambush Takedown inflicts fear, which we have yet to see how good fear is in this game. Maybe okay, but the big thing here is after you ambush, you get crit damage and crit chance for 15 seconds or 10 seconds for 15%. That's actually pretty good for the initial burst of damage you're going to be doing when you just jump into a pack of enemies and start laying down the smack, so to say. Do a takedown and then beat them down. Health regen, when you outside of combat, your health just regenerates up to 40%. Meh, that one's probably a pass. Okay, and Batgirl's key ability, all the characters have their key ability. Hers is actually a drone summon. And the first lower right skill here is Drone Ambush Blast. Once per summon, the drone does a huge burst of damage on all enemies. I've seen this in action. It's not super impressive. Basically, just when you summon it, it does a little AoE around where it's summoned. Maybe if you're super duper surrounded, but they need to either increase the blast or make it do something else, because otherwise it's kind of lackluster. Alright. And drone firepower is the middle one here. Increases the fire rate of your drone. Yes, this is a definite pickup. This is a solid burst damage ability. It just makes more shooty pew pew out of your drone and helps out your overall damage while you're playing. And then the last one here is enhanced combo, which pretty much every character gets. It's just increasing your combos by one attack, basically, and the last attack is a knockdown. So out of Knighthood, basically the top two right here are really good, and these bottom two are really good. Basically stay away from the right side because they've kind of meh. If you have enough points in late game, maybe the burst might be okay. But all in all, Batgirl's just solid beatdown fun. I don't think there's too many variations on her builds because Oracle is very passive, very out of combat. But yeah, it is what it is. Alright, let's just skip ahead a little bit to her skills. We'll cover a few of her skills that we've seen in the game so far. So the first one here, I'm not going to actually go to it, but the first one here is you basically just throw batarangs in front of you in an arc. You jump up and just throw a spread shot of batarangs. Pretty cool. Good AoE skill. The next one's your Beatdown. This is kind of iconic Batgirl. She just does a wombo combo, and it synergizes with your first tree, as we looked at before. So definitely a good one to have on your bars. The next one is Elemental Strike, and here's the flavor text for it. She just performs a heavy melee attack that does massive elemental damage. If you're kind of doing the elemental build Batgirl, yeah, this is probably the skill you want to be punching people in the gut with, but that's okay. There is another skill we've seen that is not in the beta, and that is the ability where she summons bats around her. And this was in one of the earlier trailers. But one of these 4 mystery abilities is the summon bats around you and an ally. And I think they're just probably going to be like a damage shield. Like if enemies come too close, the bats hurt them. Or maybe they give you a defense bonus. It's okay. Maybe a synergistic character of Batgirl while playing multiplayer would be in that, and some of the other healing stuff in the heal tree. And then the last one down below me, I can't really move here, but it is the drone summon. And as we talked about before, the drone is kind of a keystone ability. It does some healing to you and some allies, and then it does like pew pew blasts on enemies, which is actually solid. It's a very good helper. So all in all, while Batgirl is very strong, very tanky, very beat 'em up, she'd probably be an amazing character for like people who just like the tanky Batman, the big beefy, uh, punch him in the face type Batman. Just not my style. Again, I'm going Robin, but tell me what you think about her abilities, her skills, and we'll discuss it.